listening to he and Toots the Oarsman play Wave. Something's happening. I can't see what, but I bet it's funny. Sounds beautiful. There we go. Okay. Here we are. Oh. Uh, very beautiful. That's a nice way to start the day.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, it was nice to you start with this video because it's my favorite video, and I was extremely surprised. Uh, it was made in 2008,
oh,
and I was
2008, really? Wow.
yeah 12 years ago, and I went to it was in December. I went for a Christmas concert
Uh-huh.
in Singapore. I
Oh,
was invited to be part of the band. It was a 12-piece band to play for Brazilian Christmas and all kind. And Tutstilmo was the you know the start and the start of the show. So when we were there, all of a sudden he just decided and he said, maybe we should do something together, just me and the guitar player. As soon as he said that, I said, oh, there comes trouble because it's, it's a master. I'm get nervous but I came in on the stage and he when I came in he said waves and I said, oh great, because wave everybody plays wave. I have jazz musician and he always plays in D. I never played wave in another key in my life.
yeah. Even singers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all in D.
Yeah.
And I came in and I already heard he start with one note samba. And I said, oh, maybe he forgot. And then I started looking. You can see in the beginning of the thing that I started looking for the key. I heard the key, but this is not D. So when I get it was A flat. And I said, well, one note samba in A flat's not that bad. But then he changed to wave. Oh, my whole brain was like around because it's not a guitar key, it's everything became, I have to think so much ahead. But the most worry in my mind that not to step in his toes because he's the master and I'm there just to hold it. But and in my thought, I said, this thing is going to be on YouTube, I'm sure. Somebody's gonna put it there, but somebody put it, and then I asked permission to use it, and it's over 150,000, 170,000 hits already, and nobody said anything bad yet. So far so good.
Well, that's the cool thing, that's the cool thing because nobody really knows what's going on inside of your head. So
Yeah.
you could be freaking out totally and nobody knows it.
Yeah, and it's really jazz because I had no idea how he was going to play, how much
Yeah.
he was going to play solo. And we never played before, but it was great, and almost 3,000 people in the audience. It was sold out, so it even make you very conscious of where you are in doing it. But it's the beautiful thing of music. Once you start it, on the
Yeah.
stage, everything disappeared.
Yeah.
It just became you and the music.
And what's so beautiful is that it was so personal. I mean,
Yeah.
as a listener, not being involved in it, it was a really beautiful, personal, it was a conversation. And it was like,
Yes.
la da da da. Oh, yeah. And da ba da da. Oh, and da da ba da. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. I try to respond to the most of things he was putting in,
Yeah.
and let him be as free as he could,
And he was
giving
responding
the
to you.
support.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. He was an amazing musician. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Really, really amazing. You know, uh, I don't know if it was because I knew I was hanging out with you today, but when I do a few little exercises in the morning, I get on this thing, this gazelle thing, that
Uh-huh.
so I like to put on some music. And so this series was a really beautiful series from a museum that I
Brazilian,
got.
yeah.
Yeah. And this was the Putumayo
Yeah.
company. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah.
Anyway, I put this on and it was so beautiful. And I even recognized Rosa Pasos's voice.
Yeah.
God, she has the most amazing version of Waters of March on here. Oh my God, gorgeous. And anyway, so I was thinking about it. I, I love Brazilian music. I've never super delved into it deeply. I mean, I've always sung the Jobim songs from when I was like 5 years old,
Yeah,
but those were a certain group of very popular songs. And really, we didn't listen to the Brazilian players. We listened to Stan Getz playing it, and
yeah.
we had no idea of the rhythmic. We really didn't know. We had no clue. And that's how I was for years. And then I started, hearing and meeting people, and I always thought, okay, well, obviously I'm not getting into it right now. It's not like a super deep reach for me, but I want to at some point. And lately I've been listening more and more, and my intention is to sing more Brazilian stuff. But I realized that part of my non-reaching is because it's daunting how much music there is in Brazil that seems
Yeah.
very different, And listening to this, I was really amazed. I mean, it's all quality music, but the rhythms are very different. And my friend Roberto Montero. He
Hmm.
he had done a few workshops for me about how Brazilian music, and it came up that there were all these different things in history and stuff. But it's a little intimidating for me. I don't think
Well,
jazz is the same way.
yeah, I think it's the same thing in every kind of music. For
You do?
example, yeah, Brazil is very lucky because we have amazing poets.
Yeah.
And when you have great poets that write beautiful lyrics, it helps the music. It helps the composer to get the nice notes. And you can see that most of Brazilian music is not complex at all. They are simple melodies with a very, very beautiful classical harmonies in the back. And especially for guitar players, especially the ones who, like me, who play by myself.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be a bass player, so I can carry the groove and all the bass at the same time with the chord. That makes a different way to play a guitar than would be a jazz musician. And I also incorporate being born in Brazil and my first instrument being drums. I always incorporate those rhythms from all over Brazil. And if you go really deep in Brazilian music, it's complicated. Then it gets complicated. Apart rhythmically, especially because rhythm is one of the things that you gotta be born with some way to do it.
Yeah.
I know great musicians that they just have no sense of rhythm or time. They play beautiful melodies, beautiful chords, beautiful things, but their rhythmic and their time are not there. So the rhythm is something that you got to be born with it for some reason, born with something that would help you to build it. At
Yeah.
least you can recognize. But when I said that it's mostly music, it's because when I came to the United States, my intention was to be a jazz musician. I was a bass player, was playing upright and upright bass and electric bass. So my intention is to play jazz. I want to be like Charlie Mingus. I want
Yeah.
to be like some of the greatest. But when I got in the United States, I said, my God, if I'm not born here, I will never be like these people. Never. I can try and try and try. I'm going to be very close, but I won't be like that. For some reason, music depends a lot where you're born. You grow with actually not where you're born, but what you see and hear when you're baby, when you're a kid.
Yeah.
That grows with you. And for when you are 30s, trying to learn jazz and become a great jazz musician, it's kind of hard if you're not born here. if you have other directions. So what I decided is really learn the jazz. I was lucky to be in Chicago. You know, Chicago has some of the greatest musicians in the world. I think the best guitar players in the world in Chicago. But piano players, bass players, and horn players, all kind of, is a school for any musician. Chicago is a school for any musician. So when I was there, I said, my thing is to learn all the things that they have, but I apply to my music.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be one of the thousands that we have here that can do a lot better than I do if
Yeah.
I'm going to play jazz music. So, but I just love jazz, and that's one of the reason I came to the United States. And I was a little off a little bit with some of the jazz musicians because for me jazz was always vocals because because I'm a singer. So Ella Fitzgerald, Nat King Cole, and Chet Baker, those kind. The singing for me has a lot to do, with the jazz, even more than the instrumentals.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the instrumental goes to a point now that it's unachievable for me. I don't have the fingers anymore. I don't have the things anymore to do it. But it's the vocal. I can always sing, and I can always do it. The things, and I can always challenge any not challenge, but I can always join any jazz improvisations and things, even without the guitar in my hand, just by singing, because I'm training for it. I'm training my ear during all the times that I went on the stage with jazz musicians playing my music. That's another interesting thing. Instead of I be on a jazz group, I made, for example, I had for 3 years in a row, I have a place I play every Friday in Chicago. Every Friday, I had a different jazz musician with me, playing my music. You wouldn't believe how many different. It was every Friday, it was different, even though it was the same music, the same chords, the same thing, but the musician was different.
Yeah.
That's how I learned it.
Isn't that
I learned
great?
a lot. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I could hear, man, how can he approach that? That's different things. So beautiful.
I mean that's like a little deeper than me, but for 3 years I had a gig every Tuesday when I was let's see, I was probably about 27, 26 or 7 for 3 years in Hollywood there was a place called the $2 Bills and for 3 years every Tuesday and you're going to love this. So they paid $5 and a meal to anyone who showed up. I had the weirdest bands. One time I had trumpet and drums. And I played and I was writing at the time, so I played all my music. And yeah, for 3 years, it was really a great learning experience.
Yeah. And $2 a week, you made $92 a year. It was
I know, not bad, right?
Not bad.
Well, so so you played drums first, and then you got into bass, but were you singing all the time too?
I was singing all the time. When I was born in Belo Horizonte, in the place I was born, there was a lot of groups that would play usually guitars and percussions and vocals. Always singing. At that time, Argentinian music was very, very strong in my state. A lot of tangos, a lot of Carlos Gardel and things, and boleros that would come from Mexico, Puerto Rico, Cuba. So since I was like 8 years old, 7 years old, I started listening to these people doing it, singing in Spanish, even though it was Spanish Brazilian,
Yeah,
By the way, let me just say, Happy Independence Day to Brazil, September 7th. Yeah.
Cool.
But I heard that there's people singing in Brazilian and Spanish, those things, but the beautiful melodies that came from from Cuba, especially from Argentina, from everywhere. And so that vocal was always carried on. But I decided to play drums for the first time because there was a drum available. It's not that I chose it. And I learned how to play. I didn't become a drummer,
Yeah.
best drummer. But it was like a rock group, so the drum wasn't that
Oh,
complex anyway. So it's
yeah.
just, yeah. So I just learned how to play, and then we played for a little while. But then there was a problem in the group, and the bass player got upset and he left. And he threw the bass on the floor and left. There was no other bass player. I have to find a bass player. But there was a percussionist with us who could play drums. So I got the bass. I didn't know anything about it. I just started playing, and whatever I could hear, they followed the chords, and I started doing that. I always had a very good ear. I could always hear. I didn't need much ears. I could hear the change, even though I had no knowledge of music. If you ask me what chord or note I'm playing, I didn't know, but it just sounded right. So I played the bass for like 2 years or 3 years, and I became a famous bass player in my city. And I start playing a TV program in my city, and once in a while there was some people from Rio de Janeiro, at that time the main music city in Brazil. So it came a group to play, and when the guy was going upstairs on the stage, his bass fell on the stairs and bent. So he looked at me and said, "Can I borrow your bass?" And he said, "Yeah." I gave him the bass. He said, "Yeah, you can use my bass." So he got the bass. When he got that, he played a little bit. He looked. Then he went to the tuning, and then he played. Then he gave me the bass back, and I asked him, "Why you changed my tune?" He said, "Oh, the bass was out of tune." So I realized that when I got that bass on the floor, that was the tuning I used for 3 years.
Oh my God.
A special tune. It was completely out of tune,
Oh.
out of the bass tuning. But then he told me which the strings, which one was. I had to tune it again, and I have to relearn the damn bass. But then I was
Wow.
right now, But it's fantastic. Bass became I think it's still one of my favorite instruments in the world. And I had a chance to meet many great bass players, especially I just said his name. Man, I just said his
You
name.
mean like Jocko or somebody? Or?
Charles Mingus. Yeah,
Oh,
one of my
Charlie Mingus, right.
one of the last ones I met in Brazil was Charles Mingus, because I worked with the TV and the thing, so I have access to them. Everybody who came there, I have access. And I met a lot of great musicians there.
Yeah, I was at Berkeley when Charlie Mingus came and taught a class, and everybody was there. Everybody was kind of electrified. It wasn't big at the time. Berkeley was pretty small when I went, but yeah, that's pretty exciting. And the bass tuning thing too. I know several bass players who retune their basses differently.
Different, yeah.
And when I had my jam session, I could never hire them unless they wanted to play all night, or unless somebody else brought a bass in, because, you can't just sit in on a bass that's retuned, right? Or
yeah.
Really. So, well, that explains why you have this whole romantic aspect to your music, because, of how you grew up and listening to all these beautiful songs coming in with beautiful melodies. Yeah.
The boleros, yeah.
The boleros, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was my boleros and Argentinian tangos. I played on a Típica. Típica is a group, formal tango group.
Oh,
usually 4 or 5 people,
yeah.
different instrument, bandoneon, of course. And Don Roberto Blasco was from Argentina, and everybody in the group was from Argentina but me. So I played bass, and I learned to play a lot of Carlos Gardel songs, a lot of tangos. It's very, very, very. All this is a great school, and there's no school better than this.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so let's see. Boy, I know you have, because we've talked a lot about your past, various things about your past. There's so much to it. So you went to Chicago and you stayed there a long time, right?
39 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, yep, that's just a
Like
little less
I,
than
it's
what
like
I'm.
I was born there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you
more
went you
time,
were early
more
too.
time there than my whole life in Brazil.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. I mean, I always feel like I'm from Boston, but I came here when I was 21. That was like over 40 years ago. So,
Yeah.
I'm definitely from LA too. But so well, jumping just a little bit around, we'll jump around in conversation. Why did you move to LA?
Well, there were so many things. Mostly, of course, the weather. Chicago is a gorgeous city, but it can be tough on the winter, especially the wind. That
It is
was.
real. I remember being there in the winter. Whoa.
Yeah. So when you were 30, 40s, you manage, but you start getting to the 60s, and it starts getting in your bones. So there was time that every time I I see a snowstorm that comes, and I have to take that snow out, the quantity of snow and old, and I said, well, I gotta do something, and. And believe it or not, since I was in Brazil, since I was a kid, I always had an attraction for Los Angeles.
Oh,
There was so many musicians from here that went to Brazil, and I always, man, always Los Angeles, and some Brazilians who came here, especially Dori Caymmi and the older guys that came before. Los Angeles, New York was always the biggest
yeah.
things. So New York for me, it would be the same thing as Chicago because of the winter. So I thought about Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a better thing for me. And I met some great musicians from here that I always I wish I could play with them. One of them, for example, is Jeff Hamilton, the drummer. I just love Jeff's playing. And I was so lucky when I came here. He invited me for some gigs, some things. I played some very nice jazz concert. This year, well, one of my last gigs before the virus, it was at Newport jazz party in February, end of February. And, and then from there, I went to Jakarta. That was it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have a whole
Yeah,
relationship with Jakarta.
yeah. So that was it. And since then, when I came back, was already bad. In the world, the virus was already.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So uh, I'm like I said in the Facebook, like every old man should do it. I'm home. I'm staying here, trying to save myself. Yeah.
Your daughter lives here too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's obviously an attraction.
Yes. Yeah. 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 We both love this. Love the city. Love the things. I might have, in the future, I might have to move again just because I would love to buy a house.
Hmm.
And here it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's the prices now are, oh my God, it's out of control. So but I can find somewhere a little farther. I don't know. Still thinking what to do, but Los Angeles is great.
Yeah.
I have no regrets for the 5 years that I'm be here. Enjoy every minute. Yeah.
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 So I used to curate this jazz series downtown at a place called Olac, which was a really kind of high class vegetarian restaurant. And inside the restaurant was an amazing club. Actually, like you had to open the door, and then there was a club,
Yeah.
and Paulinho played there several times, and the audiences were always extremely happy to come
Yeah.
and to listen. It was really quite a beautiful situation. So let's see. Well, I know. Let's speak a little bit about the CDs that you did. The especially the was it a children's CD or you know
Yeah.
that was
Yes, a
really
children's CD.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, the children's CD, it was done by a company in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and they produce CDs for children,
Yeah.
and in different language. So they usually music for nicely music from the country that kids can, maybe attract to learn it,
Yeah.
and they learn the language by singing, like I did. I I learned English by singing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they approached me and said, "Can you do a CD for us?" Well, sure. I was kid once. I remember by my son.
I
And
remember that.
yeah. So I put together about 12 songs, all from mostly from children's, but also some important songs that children are attracted to. A cup of classical, even, Villas Lobos. The thing is, like children in Brazil, especially in my time, we have the cirandas, like they say, the simple kids songs, but we also sing a lot of the already very good compositions. Especially Villa Lobo wrote about a lot of for songs that would attract children to
Oh,
play,
yeah.
and so I record some of those things, and it was a very nice record. And I actually last year I did a new it's a mixing of it, of the CD, and it's supposed to be reprint. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. I should have had mine here to show.
Yeah.
They're yeah, I really enjoyed those CDs a lot. How many recordings have you made?
22, I think. Actually, 22 here. I don't count anything I did in Brazil because they are not available anymore. But there's 22 CDs that I did here. And I have a problem. All my life, it seems like everything I do is never really finished. I keep improving on it. I try to improve all the time. So, for example, maybe about 10 years ago or something like that, or maybe less, I did a CD of all my compositions called My Very Life. It came out very nice. But there was when I hear the CD, I say, man, there's a lot of things I can improve there. So that's this time that I'm home now, 6 months here as a prison. So what I'm doing, I'm redoing those songs on my own, guitar and the voice. I'm sampling percussions. I'm writing strings on finale and put the strings in samplers and things. And I'm planning to release this CD. It's all my compositions. I have 20 songs, but I might do a double CD or compose two more and do a double CD, or maybe just choose the best one. Uh, Actually, I was gonna put this in put a sample in the Facebook and something like that. Paulinho is looking for how they say this arts people who reach and give money to arts. How you say that?
Say that again.
Rich people with love arts and give money to arts. How they call it? Patron. Patron?
Oh, Patreon.
Patron. Yeah, Patreon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to put the Paul is looking for a Patreon of the arts to put his music out.
Oh, I see. Like, oh, you're looking for. I thought you were talking about the site Patreon,
No, no, patron.
but you could do the
The
Patreon.
art.
You could do Patreon as well.
Yeah. Well, it was just a thought. So I don't have to do everything at home. But anyways, I will release it, because it's coming out very nice.
Boy, just hearing you talk, there's this one song on this record, this recording that I've just every time I hear it, I want to feel like okay, it's been a few years. It's probably just I'll probably listen and like it again. I never do. And I would really, I mean, the records are already finished and done, and they're sitting in my garage. But that song, I really would just love to redo the vocal on that because what happened was I was playing with a pianist, and it for whatever reason some of it was rubato and some of it was just slow, but my phrasing and his phrasing just didn't lock. It just was, and the whole song is like that, and it's such a beautiful song, and I feel like I need to sing it again, and I think just match his playing. He was just playing basically, and which is not really my style. My style is not
Yeah.
singing exactly with it. I
He
like
should be he should be matching you.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
So
the singer. Yeah.
yeah, but anyway, but it makes me want to, try to get that together to just for my own I just
Yeah.
and nowadays people aren't really going to buy the CD so much, but they might, purchase it online and then I could change it out. So
Yeah.
and the other thing about that record that now that we're talking about me was that I didn't, for some weird reason, because whatever, I didn't master the record. So, which was a mistake. That record, it was,
Sometimes.
well, in
Sometimes
this
could be.
case, it
Yeah.
was. It
Yeah.
was my record with all these different piano players. And, listening to it now, it's like that was a mistake not to master that record. I mean, it's too intimate. It really needed, and everybody played differently. Really needed a mastering. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I might work on that if I can.
Yeah. I did a CD with Two for Brazil, Greg Fishman on the saxophone.
Yeah.
Amazing musician. So it was a Christmas record,
Oh,
and actually it was chosen in Chicago the best record of the Christmas record of the year.
yeah.
And when we recorded, I got the mix at home. It felt so good, but because it was something that it was going to be Christmas, we decided to master it. When I got the master back, I can't understand. It was harsh.
How
It
interesting.
completely went backwards. We can't release this master. It doesn't sound like the one we did.
Wow.
So that's what I said. Sometimes master is good. Sometimes that's because we spend so much time in the mixing. The mixing
Yeah. Yeah.
should be good enough. You don't have to
It
change
should
that
be.
much.
Yeah.
So master is, for me, it's just leveling and put a general ambience on it. But the mixing is the whole thing. Good
Yeah.
mixers.
Okay. Thank you for talking about that. I'm going to do that. I'm next week I'm going down to 3 days a week instead of 6 days a week with this. So I've been looking forward to that to get to some real projects that I've been wanting to work on that I just don't seem to get to because this takes up a little chunk of time, and mostly in my mind. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take that project and fix it up so that I like it. And then I can also put it out online in a different form. That's what I'm going
Yeah.
to do. Thanks, Paulinho.
Yes. I hope it's right. I hope I'm right. Yeah.
Well, you've inspired me. I know
Yeah.
I know what I should do with that, so yeah, I'll even take it into a different studio and, just yeah, it's Pro Tools and that should be easily, worked on
Yeah.
and
I have an engineer,
uh-huh.
somebody who can hear, he can do something. It's so important when it comes to recordings or live performance. For example, I did some concerts with Grażyna Guścik, my other partner in music, uh, in Poland. She's
Yeah.
from Poland. And we played one day before there was this huge sound system. It was like a rock band sound system. It sounds great, but it's overpowering for a guitar and two voice. And I always like to be soft and as acoustic as possible. But that was powerful. So the next day we traveled to a very small town. The guy had a very little mixer, like a 4-track mixer. He was even kind of shy, and some very little speakers. And he said, well, I'm going to do the best I can. He can put a little mic in my guitar, took the DI from my guitar, the direct out, put a mic in my voice. He put his headphone, I'm playing, he's doing everything in the headphone. I couldn't hear what he was doing. And then he put the headphone on, he pressed the thing. That was one of the most beautiful sound I've heard. It was like my music, it was like the music I'm hearing where I'm sitting, it's out there. Perfect. But man, that's it. It's not the equipment, it's the engineer.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy. Yeah.
That's great. I remember when I used to go see the Grateful Dead, and the Grateful Dead were famous for this huge, huge wall of amplifiers. However, the amplifiers were all, like way down. And so what you heard was actually extremely just live. But they were very, when you went to the Dead concerts, that was one of the things that they were kind of famous for that situation. I mean, I'm talking about huge amounts of amps. It's really
Do you know about the big advantage of that group?
two drummers.
No,
What?
another Garcia.
So true. Right? So true. Let me turn that off. Yeah, that's funny. Jerry Garcia. Yeah,
Another Garcia. That makes the group good.
right. Yeah. Let's see. Are you interested in playing and singing a little?
I could try it.
You don't have to. I mean, I could go
Yeah,
to YouTube too.
it's up to you.
Well, I'd
Everybody's
love to
here.
hear a little bit. I'm,
Okay. Let's see if I can sing because
yeah,
haven't sing for 6 months.
I understand.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while you're checking it out, I'll just put a qualifier on here. I'm not totally sure what Facebook has in mind these days. They've changed their policy. I don't quite get if they want live performance for free or not, or videos. I don't quite understand what's going on. I just know that some of the music that I've played has been taken down, so that's
Yeah, that's what I
almost
was
okay.
thinking. That's what I was thinking because maybe they might worry about copyrights thing because especially Facebook, people are watching. Oh, you played my music.
They probably don't want to
Oh,
get
you played.
sued. I'm sure some of
Yeah,
it is that. Yeah.
yeah.
It's just when I read that, I was like, oh my God, like politics and COVID aren't enough. Now Facebook, do we have to create some other thing than Facebook or probably?
Can you hear?
Yeah.
In my headphone, I have a delay, but I'll try.
Oh, okay. Maybe you
Yeah,
don't
you see,
want to,
I'm
maybe you want to
playing.
take your headphones off.
No, I think I can do it.
Okay.
So I'm going to sing a song for you. It's a new composition. That's going to go in my new CD. It's called Pot of Gold. So can you believe I got the wrong key? I know that there beyond the rainbow there's a pot of gold. It is there beyond the rainbow, and there's more than gold. That is happiness for an eternity. And this land of hope goes far beyond you can see. It's the promised land and it's just waiting for me. Beyond the rainbow, there's a pot of gold. It is there beyond the rainbow, and there's more than gold. That is happiness for an eternity. And this land of hope that goes far beyond you can see is a promised land, and it's just waiting for me. But I'm certain that I can find gold. All the reaching is by your side. The road doesn't need to be that long. You know, to be happy, I just need you.
Yay! Yay!
Hard to do with the delay, but it's good. It wasn't that out of the rhythm.
Yeah. You probably could have taken your headphones off. You know,
Yeah.
that was really nice.
Yeah,
The bridge was really beautiful.
yeah. It goes somewhere nobody expects. You know, that's yeah. Actually, that's another thing that part of my roots.
Yeah.
Like in Brazil, when you say Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, and a musician that comes from there, you're already talking about their great knowledge or foundation of harmonic structure.
Oh,
All the great like Milton Nascimento, Toninho Horta, all these people that comes from there are very deep, harmonically. So we learned this, when we grew up in that place. It's a trait for trademark of people from Belo Horizonte.
So, can you spell the name of that place?
Belo, that's bello. Then horizon with an E at the end. Horizonte. Like horizon,
Okay,
and,
Horizon.
and then you put an E at the end.
Okay,
Horizonte.
Horizonte.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's where Tonino
You worked.
and Milton Nascimento
Milton Nascimento, yeah.
and you.
And me.
So that the way the bridge is, for instance, the harmonies. It's funny because I was reading a theory book last night, actually, a music theory book that um, was just talking about the different, just different movements in keys and changing keys and the forms within that structure. And I always realize that when I do listen to Brazilian music, what I really love is that what you just did. It's like you said, unexpected.
Yeah,
It's not where you expect to go.
it's one thing that I try to teach every time I do workshops on universities and college. I always like you learn all those rules. For example, how a chord goes to the other, how the cycle of fifth and cycle of fourth that dominate our music. All these things, you learn it. You have to learn it because that's the base of the song.
Yeah.
But then, if you want to create interest, you have to find a way to get out of it. You're still using it, but in different ways. For example, the song I just did, pa-pa-ra-ru-ra-ra, is in the key of E.
Hmm.
Do-do-do-do-do. But then when I come, the real song is in B. So when I did the bridge, I'm gonna have to think in a way that I'm not gonna back to B, but to E from the beginning. So that's why I have to make three melodies to get to that E. And sometimes you're lucky enough, it becomes nice. When you get there, so it's the composition thing that I think most of the time they don't teach in
Yeah.
in school. It's something that you have to feel it and learn it.
Yeah.
But it's been done for 200 something years.
Yeah. What, do you have a few favorite songs um, that you love to death?
Wow, that's a man. I love music so much that it's so hard that I have many songs. There is one from Brazil called Mucuripe. Actually, Mucuripe is a beach in north of Brazil, and Wagner, he wrote the song. I think it's a beautiful melody. I'm gonna record it one of those days. I have to ask permission to him, but I don't know him. But Wagner, if you watching there, wanna record Mucuripe. But it's a gorgeous song. But there's so many things. As I said, I'm a romantic. So when you're talking about the 50s and 60s, in the United States, oh my gosh, gorgeous melodies, beautiful lyrics. Yeah, see, like um, lyrics for me have to touch you, like if you were saying it. If the lyrics is so complex, like a literary book, it doesn't contact anybody. It doesn't hit anyone because it's so complex. It only hit the people who can't understand. But when you get a song, say, in the wee small hours of the morning, uh, it's just quite so simple, but it's so beautiful. Like the first time I heard it, I said, man, I sit down and say, that could be me, you know. It's
Yeah.
that's the thing that I really enjoy it in music. It's not just only the melody, but also, as I said, I'm a singer. Also the lyrics. I think poetry and music goes together, you know, perfectly, even when there's no lyrics on it.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
yeah, the interpreter can put it in a way that you can always make your own while he's singing.
Yeah. I agree with you. And like songs like We Small Hours, I've always been attracted to those songs. Short. They're short.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and the lyrics are perfect. It's
perfect.
like it doesn't have to be long and intricate. It's just here it is. You know, another song that popped into my head, I'll Be Around, you know that one?
Yeah, yeah.
It's another, and
Yeah,
they're
even the one I just recorded, latest CD, how do you keep the music playing?
oh yeah.
Score,
Oh
score.
yeah.
Yeah,
There was a jazz show that uh, the composers had created the show, or it was produced by somebody, but it was in LA, called something like Just Jazz. So, there were several of us were auditioning, and it was, the Bergmans, and can't think of who the music was by. Do you know? Do you remember?
um, the how do you keep the music playing? Legrand, no, Michel.
Michelle Legrand?
I think so. Yeah,
No, let's see. Is that it? Let me go look.
yeah.
Um, is that, how do you keep the music playing? Let's see. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Grab it, baby. Okay, how do you keep the music playing? That was, um, 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 yeah, you're right.
Michel Legrand. Yeah.
Let's see, maybe I was thinking of another song. How do you keep the music playing? Yeah, I was thinking of another song because it wasn't Michelle Legrand there. It was, but it was a song like that. How do you keep the music playing? Which, as you said, in this particular period of time in the States, there were, I mean, the Bergmans, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
they were writing all the lyrics that were killer, you know.
yeah,
And anyway, this show, the composer was there, and the Bergmans. I thought I was going to die. I had to, and you should have seen the room that the audition was in. It was the stupidest thing in the world. They should have had like an intimate space, right? Because they wanted you to sing some intimate stuff, and some swing stuff. And in fact, I used Karen Hammock on piano. It was one of those huge rooms at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, and Karen was like a mile away from me in the back, and I was out front, and I in front of them, and I was like, oh God. And I cried in the
yeah.
in the ballad because whatever this ballad was, it was one of those killer ballads, and I just there's one spot in it, where I just go ah. So anyway,
Yeah, yeah, you remind that I've seen some people like when I play some songs that, especially when I'm in a stage that I can really feel the song, like if it was mine. And,
yeah.
and I've seen people cry. I've seen people cry in front of me that I could almost couldn't finish the song. I almost asked it, stop crying. And it's so, yeah, the last time I played with Mietek Szczesniak in Poland. It's a beautiful record that I helped produce. I did the arrangement of the melodies and chords and things like that. And we got a gold record for it. But we did a concert. It's a nice big band. And once again, it was a huge, beautiful church in Poland, this old church, like hundreds of years old. So the band stopped. It was kind of loud because the band stopped, and they asked me to play a song just by myself. So I wrote a lyrics for Day on the Life of the Fool because I don't like that lyric. So I wrote one. That's my thing, my Ange Carnaval. And I wrote the song, almost a translation, but not a translation of the lyrics, but there's so many lyrics for that song, but a translation of the idea of the movie. When I start playing, by half of the song, the woman in front of me was crying so bad that I said, my God, am I doing good or bad? She was really taken by the song. And it's so beautiful to see it, like,
Yeah.
that's the whole reason of being a musician.
Yeah.
So it's one way to think that we matter for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody who appreciates you. Well, there's a bunch of people on here, but Gary Brumberg is here.
Yeah.
And, he's he definitely loves you to death. And Mark Isabel, he said
Yeah, Mark is so great.
he wanted us to play again. I know he's the most Brazilian American I've ever met.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, are you
Yeah.
Brazilian or American?
He's a great guy.
Yeah, yeah. And you and I have talked about singing specifically, like the instrument, because I remember what you and I both had, varying trouble with the voice at various times, and
Yeah, I always have. Mm. Like you see today, my voice is kind of low because I
yeah,
haven't done anything with the voice. And but it's mostly I have since I was a kid, I have a little stomach problem that get a lot of like some gas, some things, but for some reason it blocks your voice doesn't come clean. So I have to take precaution every time I'm gonna play on a stage or recording especially. See that I have in my 20 something CDs that I have. Sometimes I sound like different singers from each one to the other. It depends how I was in the day.
yeah,
But it's I think it's still the greatest instrument in the world. It's your voice.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember when I was trying to learn scatting like I did in the song I just played. You can hear all the influence from Latin horn players like flutes and
yeah,
how they phrase, and also some jazz influence by following the chords in a jazz way of thinking. But I remember the first time I heard Ella Fitzgerald doing the scat, it just blew me away. I said, my God, this is out of this world. And then Mel Torme went to Brazil right before I came to the United States, and he did a scat on a song. I said, oh my! I want to be like that. I do like that. I couldn't even think in how he was doing. I gotta do like this. I gotta learn how to do it. So those were my intentions when I came to the United States. They were great scat singers. Oh, unbelievable.
But you have some technique ideas about singing too, right?
Well, yeah, I not a really technique, but especially Brazilian music, it's how you phrase it.
Okay, but
You
I'm
see, like,
talking about quality of tone. Is that what you're talking
oh,
about too?
yeah, I don't like, for example, the classical training of a chest voice because it's very aggressive. It would be nice for rock or for things. And I did this before. I used to play rock, and my hair was all the way down here. And that to be a hot rock musician, you have to be a long hair. So and I sing a lot of Freddie Mercury songs, but I was young and I could pull that thing off
Yeah.
out. Not today, I can't do that. I'll break my chest. So for me, the music that I play, the soft romantic music, is like a conversation. Like I'm
Yeah.
talking to you with a little clear voice, but don't force anything. And and if you want to be Brazilian, it's the thing, you are the king. See, there's no limitations where you can phrase unless you can't limit yourself. For example, when I talk to them, don't sing in the first beat of the time, like ba to di da to di
Right.
da, because it's horrible. Because now you're limiting yourself, you're putting yourself in a grid. But sing. I forgot the name. I'm trying to remember her name. But she's a friend of yours. She's from Seattle, singer. She asked me to do a
Greta Matassa or
no. Man, she was here and she called me to do like a little class or something for her. And while she was here,
you
yeah.
to accompany her or on guitar or
No, just a little class, a little.
like
Yeah.
a Brazilian, like a lesson.
Yeah, like a little lesson or
Yeah.
something. And I went to man, I can't believe I can. Her name is right here, and I can't find it. But I went there and I started talking to her just to be free and say. But then I decided, I say, you're a jazz singer, nice singer. Just hear my guitar and sing the way you feel it.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't have to teach her anything else.
Yeah.
See, as long as you have someone who supports you, like my guitar, it's right there on time, bass, rhythm, you are free to do whatever you want. Put the melody everywhere. Just don't repeat. Just don't lock yourself in, count, play it. See, if you put like, I can play it. I can play. Use everything you wanted. But the only thing you can't do is stand too much that would cross the other rhythm, the guitar. So it's a learning thing. But the freedom is not just the singer, but the soloist. The soloist really should just. I always mention Miles Davis. He was to think in one note, two notes, three notes, but he put in the right time. And when I mean the right time, not the right time in groove, the right time that you feel that song, you feel that note. It just coming. It was there. It doesn't have to play much. So that it was that's the way a singer is. For example, I love Joe Pass. I love Ella Fitzgerald, but I have the record with both playing as a duo. But for me, it's a little hard because I don't know who's the soloist. Because there's never an accompaniment. Sometimes he goes very beautiful in the bass, but then he starts while she's singing, so there's too much information at the same time. So that you depend to have a very good accompanist. That's why Ella always had one accompanist, one piano player, her whole life. It's the guy who can do the job. And I give her the freedom to do it.
Yeah. I was thinking that it would be nice to hear, you mentioned the person in Poland, is that correct?
Yeah, Regina.
Yeah.
Acoustic.
Yeah, let's see. I saw that name. I saw that name as we were looking earlier.
Yeah, we have some. We have concert with a whole string session of the Warsaw Symphony and live concerts.
I know Facebook wouldn't like that, but um, but maybe maybe we can see some of it anyway, and then I might take it
Trying
down.
to see.
This one or this or is this the person? Grazna? Is that the person?
Live at Whiskey Lone. No, this was a simple thing. There are better things. Let
Oh,
me
here's
see.
your site.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't come up before. Interesting.
I don't
Okay.
know if I have right here and there, but I have plenty of my
Playlist
thing.
or
Yeah, I even have big band there.
here, maybe?
What do you have there? There is a batida different. There is very nice. Yeah, can you go down with more? There's some more here.
Well, it's not on this particular play. These are just playlists. If I go to home,
Yeah, there's a lot of things here. You see this one, the second one. There is the big band first,
okay,
called
so
a big band, and the
yeah.
other one, I really like that one.
This one?
Yeah, because it surprised myself.
Duval Ferreira, great guitar player. that
Okay,
we
I
lost,
might cut it off at the end just to keep
and Maurice
Facebook
Van Horn,
happy. I don't
Yeah.
know.
great harmonica player. So this is a song written by them called Batida Diferente. That means a different beat. Give me a chance to
I
sketch
can
it.
never play that fast anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Something like
Pairo paro cabarum dem barum dem barum pabarum dem pairo pabarum dem barum pabarum dem pairo paro cabarum dem barum dem deru pabarum dem pairo pabarum dem barum pabarum dem parum 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 pabarum parum 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 pabarum dem deru dem pabarum parum 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 pabarum parum deru dem pairo paro cabarum dem barum dem parum pabarum dem pairo pabarum dem barum pabarum dem barum pabarum dem pabarum dem parum parum deru deru dem deru chicken dem yanu dam deru pabarum dem yanu dem yanu dam deru deru lanu no deru lanu dem deru 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 yanu no panu lanu panu lanu yanu dem panu do pera do yanu do yanu do pera do panu do kiru lanu lanu yanu lanu yanu do yanu do panu lanu panu do yanu do yanu do pera do panu do yanu dam panu do deru de yanu dam yanu dam yanu dam yanu dam deru deru Pairo paro cabaro dem barum dem paro paro dem pairo paro dem para parum dem pairo paro cabaro dem barum dem bero parum dem pairo parum dem para parum dem parum para parum dem parum dem bero dem
Oh God, that was excellent. Wow, that was really excellent. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have to put. At that time, you can see on the video that I was bigger, had a lot more air in my lungs, but I just couldn't hit that G on the guitar. I had to put on the guitar because I didn't have more voice to do it.
Oh man, that was amazing. That was really cool to listen to. We were so on. Yeah, and it's just it's a great example. Sometimes I'll tell my students a few things. I'll say, look, there are no absolute rules, but there are tools that you can use, right? And
Yes.
one important one is too much of anything is boring. So stay away from too much of, like you can't repeat the same exact thing over and over and over and over again. That's just it. No matter how good you are, it's going to be boring. So that was a great
Yeah.
example of not doing that. And also, like, besides motifs, but how I really emphasized, like, basically the song is like a river.
Yeah.
You are on a boat and you're always on that boat, no matter if you're looking right or left, wherever you're looking, you're still traveling on the boat. So everything is connected. It's a flow. So if you do a great, fabulous line, there has to be a connection there. You can't just be, oh, now here's another great, fabulous line. Oh, here's another great. That makes for, not such an enjoyable experience for the listener or for you too, right? So that was also a great example of that. You were so connected to yourself. It was just like here's a great idea, connected to this great idea, and connected to that great idea. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, that's actually that's one of the reasons that I have a little hard time sometimes to trade, like they do trading.
Yeah.
I think because once I start on one idea, I have to keep going. If I cut it and somebody does it, then I have to start another idea. So I keep starting it and never become a really
Yeah.
great thing.
Yeah.
So I like to just do a take for the whole chorus, then being trading here and there. That's
Yeah.
my thing. Some people might like to do it, but it's that's exactly what it is. You
Yeah.
have to follow the river and be watch with the falls ahead of you. You might fall down there. Yeah, I went. I remember once I went to see Dave Brubeck quintet, and he started playing, and he started going out and out in his chord. It got to a point that I crossed my fingers and say, I wanna see his coming back. He come back because he's completely out there now. And he was all of a sudden he got one note, boing, and brought everything back. Wow, he didn't fall, He didn't fall in this thing. But it's this is experience.
Yeah. How do you think? I'm just curious because you're so familiar with Brazilian and American jazz. Do you think that these two genres have the musicians in them have different perspectives at all on the music, on creating the music, or is it pretty much everybody has the same human and artist point of view, but it just happens to be in different genres?
Yeah, I think for everything we only have 12 notes in our you know in our music. So, but we creating music for 200 years, and they're all different. They have some similarities, but they're all different. And I think that the jazz musician, especially what they call here, I don't understand this word, but straight ahead jazz musician. I don't know what straight ahead means, but the old jazz musician who plays really just that kind of thing. They use the same notes, the same ideas, the same things that we use in Brazilian music. They go, they just follow in a different way, in a different groove, but it's pretty much the same. You know, there's not much difference. What I see in music, for me, is what people. That's another thing too, very subjective about what they call a good taste. For example, I don't like when people start showing me all the knowledge they have in a way. For example, they know chords.
Yeah.
So at a flat 5 and a flat 13 and put a sharp 9 in the things. I always ask them, are you listening to the melody? You know, are you following the melody? The melody is the king. If you start putting a chord just because it sounds nice, a flat 5, you know, or sharp 13, you know, sharp 9, they're very nice, but sometimes listen to one note sum, pa pa ra ta ra pa pa, the end, pa ra ra pa ra pa pum, is the E major 7. Don't put major 9, don't put 6, don't put anything in that chord. Major 7 triad, pa pa ra pa, end the song. See, that. Even though you know all the great notes you can put in the chord, you know, that is an E. No matter what, or is the key of you're playing it. So that's what I one of the things I don't like, you know, in some contemporary music. You know, they're trying to show too much of things. Somebody asked me once, how you do all those sketch, and how you find all those notes. Well, I've been singing for at least 55 years. I have a guitar in my hand that I'm hearing all the chords. I have a lot of support, even though I can sing and do the sketch without my guitar, but it's going to change completely my sketch because I'm based in who is accompanying. So that if he's putting all those chords, outside chords, I'm gonna have a hard time in sketching. You know, I wanna hear the simple thing behind what is the base of the chord. Let me do the point. See, I can find the point. I can find the outside harmony, and I can use it. But if we put in it, you're limiting my music. So that's I always tell that that's how I learned to sketch, by making accompaniment for me simple enough to give me support in my ear that I can develop. I didn't start I studied for a year, and the next year I was doing. No, I never studied. I always tried, and I flunk all the time. It was worse, getting to better. You know, one day, if you know, I'm still young, not that old, I might get to the best, but I begin in the worst, and I'm getting to the better, and keep going. There's no other way to explain. You see, that there's no formula. Or use those notes, or use these notes.
Yeah.
You know, there's no formula. You just have to make your own. And this makes your character. I never heard, even it could be not complex enough or not simple enough, but what I do, it's, believe me or not, it's Paulinho Garcia music.
Yeah.
You can't hear this in other person. It's actually, when I teach, they say, you teach Brazilian music or Brazilian guitar. No, I teach guitar with my Brazilian way. It changed so much. I'm here in this country since '79, so it's 41 years. So there is a lot of influence in my guitar playing, in my singing, in my things. that there is not a pure Brazilian thing. You know, like I can't teach you be Brazilian because you have to be there to be a Brazilian. You know? It's Caetano Veloso would sound completely different from João Bosco, and they all sound different from João Gilberto, indeed. And the three sound different from Dorival Caymmi, one of the greatest, for example. And that everybody is different.
Yeah.
And everybody create their character. So when people wants to learn the way Brazilian music, they can you teach me Brazilian music? Say, I can teach Brazilian music the way I understand Brazilian music. So it's a Paulinho Garcia style. You know.
Interesting. You know, it's nice to hear actually when you said, I want to hear the simple chords behind, and I want to actually make the choices. That's really nice to hear. You know, I don't hear that a lot. I don't hear people, I don't hear instrumentalists say that a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a singer, I've experienced that, you know, I've experienced that exact thing that it's hard. And it's not just because the song may have a complicated passage, but it's actually sometimes the player is adding their own thing, which is good, but when you're supporting a soloist, you probably should be playing a certain way to support the soloist and allow the soloist to actually do what they want.
Yeah, in Chicago, there is a guitar player that's now a doctor in music. Congratulations to him, Michael Amana. I think he's one of the greatest guitar players in the world. And once I was thinking to myself, he was in my house, and I was thinking seeing him playing so complex and beautiful things, and he was having a great time with and I'm accompanying him. And I said, why there's so many great guitar players here? Why he's here playing with me? And then when he finished, he told me, said, "Paulinho, for so many years, I'm looking for this kind of support when I'm playing." That's it.
Wow.
See, I'm not stepping in his toes. You see the first thing with Toots Stillman, how I was like, playing, trying not to step in his toe at all, and support him at the same time with the groove. And he was having fun. He was, he was having a great time. He told me after the concert, he was really enjoying it. So I think that's it. Is the support and is being simple when you have to be simple. You can be complex later, when you have a chance to be complex.
Yeah, I think yesterday I was working with somebody on a song that's being recorded, and we happen to be recording the same song. So, and I was showing her what I had done on the rough tracks, and I was wondering if it had been too simple to actually release right in the end. And so the first verse was very simple, and then the second verse was also simple, but the second verse had something extra to it. It had, the phrasing was a little looser, and there was some emotion coming through that wasn't, the first verse had emotion, but it wasn't like that. And I realized it's not actually the problem, if there was a problem, is not singing just the plain melody. That's not the problem. And Brazilian music is quite a lot like this. People sing the real melody a lot from Brazil, but it's the phrasing.
Yeah.
It's from their own person and their own response to the rhythmic play. So yeah, it's once again, it's the voyage into yourself, isn't it? And how to be real and true to yourself while you're in this situation, whatever it is, and present just the real thing, which is, I mean,
that's one thing. when I have to learn a song,
Yeah.
for example, especially a jazz song, and I go in the internet, for example, and look at the jazz singers, how they're doing. Everybody phrases different, put their own note here and there, changing the melody. So I already know every time I have to learn a song, I choose it. Did Chet Baker record it? So, yeah, okay, I'll learn from him. Because the first time he played is perfect melody.
Yeah.
His touch, his touch in it.
Yeah.
But he put the melody the way the composer wrote in the way the composer wants that thing to be there.
Yeah.
The composer is not asking you to phrase it the way he did. He's asking you to respect his notes. He put some thoughts in that thing. But after that, then you can improvise and do all the things, change the melodies and all those things. But I always like Chet Baker because of that. He sings the melody the first time. He really put it there. And then, actually for me, this is great because once I know that melody he phrased, I can hear everything else that he's changed. But if you start already changing it,
Yeah.
I'm there. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you can always, of course, and I've told students this, if you don't know the melody, like I remember one girl sat in at a jam session years ago, she was doing Round Midnight. No easy song. And there was one section where she kept singing the wrong note or the wrong note. It was obviously somebody's version that she had heard and learned. And every time she came to that section, see, she sang the wrong note. So you knew she didn't really know the melody.
Yeah.
So it's a little difficult finding the real melodies, sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, what song it was? It was the song from a French play I recorded in the CD before. Man, what song was that? I never heard that song, but it was Oliver, the music from the team Oliver. So I went to, I heard a girl with a beautiful voice. So I said, oh, I'm gonna get a melody from her. And I had to go to the studio. That's another big problem I have. I got that song, I went to the same day I was in the studio, I recorded that song. When I get home, I decided to take a look in the real Olive. I went to the YouTube and I heard a part of the beginning of the movie. It was completely different. To go sing the whole melody, I have to go back because I can't do that. I had to go back to the studio and re-record the song because, I said, now I'm going to record it right the way it was. And it's, those things are, to find out the perfect melody is very hard.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. I think people should valorize more the composer than the composer is the one who wrote the melody. Just give some respect. Then you can change, Yeah, I've seen so many. For example, right here, so many records I've seen the Sergio Mendes Masquinada, and you go in the YouTube, say Masquinada, Sergio Mendes, Masquinada, Sergio Mendes. Sergio Mendes didn't write Masquinada, George Ben who wrote it. Put his name there.
I used to, for years, I did, I started singing when I was very young, and I listened to Ella Fitzgerald mostly for a jazz singer coming up. And I learned Midnight Sun. And it wasn't until I was 22, which, I had been singing it for at least 7 years or more, And my friend Ross Tompkins came up to me and he said, the bridge is in the wrong key. And I said, well, no, it isn't. Ella sang it like that. And I've been singing it for years like that. He said, right, it's in the wrong key. And it was an arrangement, of course.
Yeah.
And I had to relearn it,
Yeah.
Very interesting. That's a really interesting thing about learning music and performing it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and the worst thing, once you copy another artist, you're gonna always remember the other artist. Nobody's gonna remember your name.
Right.
It's always the other artist.
You've done a lot of writing, right?
I did when I was in Brazil. I used to write all the time.
Oh,
So when I came to, especially I work 13 years or more inside the studio in Brazil, writing commercials. Uh, and if I was in the United States, I would be rich. But in Brazil, there's no royalties, so you get paid what you get paid. That's it. But I spent many years writing things, and that developed my writing. Another thing that helped me a lot when I started playing on a TV, there was a program for amateurs. And it got to a point that somebody would come to me and say, I'm going to sing this song. The song was so popular, everybody that, but only by hearing his voice, I knew the key he was going to at least start it. I don't know where he's going to end, but this is start. But accompanying the amateurs and sometimes try to help them when they go out of key or something, it develop my ear a lot.
huh.
Because I have to really pay attention. And that's one about pay attention. That's one of the things I was thinking when you were talking about the accompaniment. Like I go see many people playing on the clubs and things, and I always see the accompanists, the piano players and things, they are really into their playing. See, there's a singer, there's a soloist, but he already knows the melody, he already thinks, so he's really thinking that in improving their playing because other musicians are watching him instead of just, put the simple things behind it and listen to the melody of the soloist. Because that's what would be important for me. It just changed the focus so I don't have too many things to pay attention at the same time. I'll pay attention to him when he does his solo and does all his great things. But when the singer is singing, I'm interested in hearing the singer.
Interesting. Yeah, that's great to hear. There were two. I mean, there's a lot. I love singing with a lot of people now, but there were two older piano players in town years ago, and who were so outstanding and some of the best singers in the world, like Nancy Wilson and Jack Jones. They hired them for long periods of time. One was a pianist and arranger named Tom Garvin, and he was an astounding player. As soon as the song started, it was a different experience. You knew without a doubt that he was supporting you, and that you could do absolutely anything because he had you, and yeah, he was really special. He played with Jack Jones, who's a really great musician, right? And then Lou Matthews was like that too. Now Lou has moved to Michigan and he's not playing anymore, but he was also like that. It was kind of a stunning experience to play with those guys, right from the beginning. You just absolutely knew they were carrying you totally, and they would not drop you. It was really an interesting feeling.
Yeah, and it's in another things to amazing everything else so nicely to hear, to be, from the listener point, when there's not that much thing going on, it's like, for example, I remember there's a great music, but I remember the first time I heard some groups from New Orleans with everybody playing at the same time. I didn't even know the key they were doing. It was like there was so many things happening, and I just want to hear one and the other. Say, I hope they play one more chord so I can pay attention to the trumpet player. So, yeah, Dixieland especially too. It's a style,
Yeah, yeah.
people like that, but Dixieland at least has a point, a key point there. But sometimes I heard some free jazz that's out of this world. You have to be in the mood for it.
You do. And there are players who play it more friendlier,
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes like Brad Dukes, the percussionist. Do you know him?
I'm not sure if I met. The name is very familiar, so
Yeah.
that I might have met him.
Yeah, he's in LA and he's one of the best percussionists, all around percussionist. And so he had this new music series every Thursday night, and I would go sometimes, and I would just be blown away. It was like, especially sometimes I would just feel, oh my God, I just want to share this music with everybody. It feels so good. It's such a great state of mind and being, just being here and having this music. It's like it pulls you into this magic space, and then you're actually in the space and you see people putting colors and moments, and you're part of it. And that's why I really love free music, because it's not expected, as we were talking
Yeah.
about before.
Yeah, well,
But
it's a free music is nice when one listen to the other and complement.
yeah,
And that's a different thing. It's a
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
thing. But what I'm talking is like free music when everybody's free. I call it. I even call them everybody being selfish at the same time. They put in their own world, so they just doesn't sound together. They sound great, but not
that
together.
kind. That kind of free.
That kind, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a different kind of free. Forget what I was talking about.
yeah. Yeah, the creation when actually oh, I'm sorry, a while ago
Yeah.
in Chicago, I played in a production called the World Music Orchestra. So there was musicians from all over the world, all kind of instruments, from Middle Eastern, from Jewish settler, music from Africa, instruments from Africa, from Cuba, Brazil, and other states. And the problem for us is what we're going to be playing, how we're going to be playing.
Right.
Because there's some things, there's a guy, he has one instrument has 3 strings. I don't even know what to write for him. So what he decides, we don't write anything. We choose the universal key, A. So what we got that bass we put like a sampler. That was the first, I start with the bass pulling, the A, and that thing stayed.
Oh.
And then we did this, we designated people to come in. The more experienced people would come in and make his part, and that thing kept there. Now we have 2 parts, and then it was here. At the end, that thing was beautiful because everybody was compliment what was there. And at the end, the Japanese violins, oh my God, they came so beautiful. And they play a part of the American anthem. Oh, I had goosebumps with a whole sound behind.
Oh.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
Very beautiful idea. That's, man, I wish we could do it there again. But it was many musicians.
That's
Actually, I wonder if we can do anything again live.
You could probably do something. Well, I keep thinking about that because, my improv group fish to birds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of impossible to meet on Zoom and do it because of the latency.
The delay, yeah.
Yeah. So we actually some of us have met in person and done some of that, and it's kind of like what you were just saying. There's but it flows in and out. It really
Yeah,
changes a lot because we don't have to like stay on an A. We can change it.
yeah.
But I was thinking it wouldn't be exactly the same thing as improv in the moment, but you could build on that in Zoom. I could send you the A, and then you could set up something that you wanted to set up, then send it back, and then I could do something on top of that, and so on. So it wouldn't be exactly the same thing that we do live, but it would still be a fish
It
to
would be
bird.
something different. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
was thinking of creating that for us. Yeah, it's just this time period has really invited different creativities, right,
Yeah,
coming out of
yeah.
us. And I think that's part of why people continually say, I just walked by the practice room. I didn't practice. I didn't feel like practicing because there's other things to get interested about. I know you spent a lot of time on your technical stuff, right? The
I
music.
know, my God, when you are a musician all your life, it's amazing when you get a computer and you have to, wow, it's so much to learn. So I'm using Finale. I'm recording the songs at home, so I had to learn Logic. I talked to some people in Europe that has an amazing interface, the RME company, very expensive interface, but they put me as a musician. They gave me a big discount, so I got one amazing interface for the thing, so I can do a great recording. Sure, from Chicago helped me a lot with the microphones and things. So this was fine. This interface and the thing was fine, but I spent a couple months
Yeah.
only on Logic. Say how I do this, and you go there and get something. Okay, now I know how to do this. Then it comes another problem. How do I do this? That's why I think about the engineers that I go record with them that knows Pro Tools and all that thing. Man, I gotta shake your hand because this thing is take years of your life to learn this thing. But I'm still learning every day. Actually, my days been very, very full because I made a commitment to do it. So I'm redoing all my arrangements for my songs, for my original songs. I'm writing string quartets for the songs for the first time. I'm
Nice.
just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous. And I wrote some trombones and things for some of sambas that I have. And I'm learning, believe it or not, I have Finale for at least 30 years since they invented Finale. I'm writing that thing. I just figured out that I don't know anything. So I had to learn Finale, how to work with it. So it's a lot of learning that takes time. And but it's been 6 months, that we are inside. So it's showing progress. The only thing is because every time I wake up, I still look outside and I say, man, I can't see a future in live music yet. It's because we're taking a lot of risk. We are inside for a long time and we're opening parts of the country and things, but we're not carefully open it. We open and everybody's going like it was before. And it's very scary because this thing is still out there. So we have to take care. Otherwise, we're not gonna have live music for a long time. We have to beat this thing, this virus. And that's what I wake up in the morning, man, I'm just gonna stay here, just go out to buy my shop and my things. but I'm gonna put my time in my projects and making something out of it. If it open up now, even if it's a year from now, I will be very prepared for it. With new songs I can record, I can present, I can go to concerts that the people never heard me doing before. It's going to be a new me, new old me. And I think that it's time to trying to take advantage of a bad situation and make it work your way. You know, let cross your fingers that our scientists will come up with something. I know they're working very hard to do it, uh, and uh, and see what's going. But at least prepare yourself for when it's open, and 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 don't just think that okay, the scientists did the work, it's open now and gonna take all the advantage. No, I think if you still want to use your mask, use your mask. All the big pandemics that we had in the world, all of them came in crowded spaces, big big cities were completely crowded in France, Paris, England, all this place there at that time was crowded, no space. That's where the virus grows and keep going. So I said, just think back and get the lessons, and let's see if we can open this country, open the world. But for me, all my job for the past 5 years has been out there, in Japan and Europe and Singapore, all this place I've been going, and everything stopped. I had October now, this coming October, we had set up already a big tour in Japan with Dina DeRose, the piano player. Yeah, Dina DeRose and Greg Fishman, saxophone, and myself. We are going to do this beautiful tour, and it had to be canceled. I had a tour in Poland, had to be canceled. Everything is canceled. So I'm looking for the opening, not just the United States, but the world, because I want to go there again. That's my dream. I only saw 2/3 of it. I want to see the other third.
Yeah, I know. Just the thought of not traveling again, for music to other countries it's a sad thought. Also was supposed to go to Japan in March for 3 weeks and canceled it. And yeah, I want to go back. I want to do it again. And it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine what's going to happen. I'm not. Yeah, it's so much to think about and talk about and discuss. I had a good political discussion with several people the other night, and it was good. Nobody was attacking, for different points of view. We were all just discussing. Just like look at what's going on and just say what you feel and talk about it. And the same way with the COVID and yeah, I really I think the mystery, the not knowing is probably one of the worst things for people to deal with. It's not that we totally knew before the COVID came. We didn't totally know everything, but we didn't think about it. Now it's like we're thinking about it all the time. I don't know it, So in a way, it's kind of brings to mind that the world is waking up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't see that in front of me before. Oh, I do. I see that now. Let's see. What can I do with it? Can I take responsibility for it, or can I just think about it and look at it and just actually understand? And that has got to change the waves of awareness that connect people. It's got to change it, when you look at things and understand for a minute.
Yeah. It's like your theory of the river, for
Yeah.
example. For me, for example, being my age, I see a lot of people around me with that age always thinking that the world is going to the worst because it's not the way it was when we were young. But they forget to see that, for example, the new generation, they have in their hands things that we never did. The world is different. We just don't understand it. Well, we have to find a way to understand it. It's very easy for us to blame.
Yeah.
We are humans. We have this tendency to blame. It's never our fault. It's always somebody's fault. No matter who is it, it's not gonna fix because there's no Superman out there. It's simple people like us that are out there. They're having the same trying situation that we do. But the thing is, we change to blame a lot, and the blame is the worst because it never gets accomplished, and nothing gets accomplished. It's only blaming, 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 no solutions. I know that by blaming or by talking things, that's the way we change things.
Uh-huh.
But we gotta find a way to really make changes, not change from one thing to another thing that's, it's the same over and over
Yeah.
and over and over. For in Brazil, for example, when I was a kid, every single time there was election, I heard my father, oh, now the country's going to be great. Now we have the right person. And never been.
Yeah.
Never. It's still the same thing, the same problem, the same hard life that was 50 years ago, 70 years ago. It didn't change.
Yeah.
We have to change ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why I say that this staying at home for me gave me a lot of things. I have to prepare myself to get there to this new world. It's this world that we're gonna go there in a year from now is not the same I came a year back.
Yeah.
It's different. Don't go there thinking that it's the same because it's not. It's different. You have to adapt to best things. A lot of Asian people use the mask for years.
I know. If
That's,
they weren't well,
yeah,
they put the mask on. You
Yeah.
always see it in Japan.
always, yeah.
Yeah.
See, but we I don't know what it is. Maybe we don't want to, put a mask and not showing it how beautiful we are.
Right.
Or maybe we don't want to show how ugly we are. Put a mask, So, but it's going to be a different world, and I have no idea at all. And that's one of the things that worries me. Man, I can't plan. There's no way to plan anything.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard.
Yeah.
So I'm planning to a new world that I don't know.
Yeah.
Live, talking to you like we're talking like we are in a coffee shop. But you are in your home and I'm here. We are in the same city, but we're very far apart. So it's a new world. Before last year, I never did this. And now I'm doing. Now I have a whole equipment here using an iPhone. I even have a better equipment. It was gonna take him too long to set up, so I decided with the iPhone is easier. But I have a nice microphone. I have things that just a couple years ago I wouldn't be able to do. I wouldn't have this microphone here in the camera. I wouldn't have this tripod holding perfectly the iPhone. I wouldn't have an iPhone SE, a simple iPhone, but with a nice camera. It's not a SLR camera, but it's decent picture, decent video. So it's something that I'm doing that is already a new world for me.
Yeah. It brings to mind, too, that if you are kind of person who studies yourself, through philosophy and spirituality, you see, you find your pitfalls, and you understand them, and you understand how to at least try to rise above them. And so, and the idea that everything is a microcosm of everything else. So everything is the same, whatever you look at. You as a human being is the same as you as a community, is the same as you as the world, as life. It's all the same. So one thing that I have seen over the years is that my mind is very exceptionally good at trickery. It is really, really good at tricking me.
Yeah.
And setting up habits, whatever the habits are, And when I when I have spotted a habit that I want to change, and worked on changing it, my mind very cleverly creates the same thing but dressed differently.
Yeah.
And then I have to spend all that time looking for that and seeing that and changing that. But I think that's so obvious, like what you just said. And it's so obvious that we're showing that in the state of people who are creating politics and creating information on COVID. And it's the same thing over and over again. That's why it's like, whether you vote for the right or the left, in some ways it doesn't even matter, right? Because it's all the same game. It's all been perpetuated over and over. Just like you said, your dad always thought, now it's going to change, and it never did. It was
Yeah,
all.
they did. Yeah.
I I don't know if this was a good idea, but I I read George Orwell's 1984, which was written in 1935. And he was talking about how it was all, very heavy story about how what government was doing to the planet. And a good portion of it is today. You can't help looking and comparing and thinking, I know that. I know that. And that's what I feel like is happening. And, so but the thing is, again, like we were saying, it's to be present and to really observe and to put yourself to the task of moving forward and learning and understanding. Those are actions how we can improve ourselves and therefore improve others, because we're so connected, even just through the people that you and I know, right? I mean, forget the people we don't know, just the people we do know. That little connection is going to improve. When we improve, that little connection suddenly improves. So that means the other person has improved a little too. That's what I really feel.
Yeah, and we can take the advantage of the human side of comparing to the lawn is greener in the other yard. If somebody is doing well, you want to do like them. It's the same thing, and it goes for both sides, for good and for bad. Like if somebody likes the bad side, you want to be bad like the other guy. At the same time, if the one see that everything is flowing and beautiful on the other side, they might go to that side. It's a matter of attraction. We're always going to have both in this world. I don't know why, but I think this world has to keep a balance somewhere. So there's always going to be evil and good. But in my case, my tendency is to be good. So I've been ruled all my life in two things. One, when I was born, my father, he always told me, the most important thing in your life is your rights. Always protect your rights. Always respect somebody else's right. Just remember that your rights ends where the other one starts. Don't step, because once we step that right, you give him reasons to retaliate. So that's what Kiam thinks. So that was the thing that in my mind all the time. Then when I came in the United States, talking to a lot of friends that I made, they like my music, some psychologists, some things, and they told, Pauline, have you tried mindfulness? So I went to learn mindfulness. I said, that's what I want. It's live day by day, have my plans, but live the best I can day by day. Don't make my future today, because when I had this tendency to do it. For example, oh my God, last week it's gonna be a storm, and my house is gonna start falling, and I start suffering today, not next week.
Yeah.
Instead, I could go a whole week well. But now I went a whole week bad, plus the day that happened the thing. So live the thing day by day. It's excellent. Be compassionate to others. It's extremely, extremely important, because you want somebody to be compassionate to you when you're out of your way, you know. So like Jesus said, you receive what you get. You put it there, you receive it back.
Yeah.
That's so that's what being the story of my way of being, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Well,
people think I'm too. I accept things too much. That I'm very soft, but actually I'm not. You know, I can be hard. I'm getting low battery here.
oh, well, you know what?
I got.
It's
Yeah.
actually been a little over 2 hours, so
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. That's.
I think I lost your video.
Yeah. You should be back now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in low battery mode now. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Pauline,
actually, I'm surprised that it stayed that long.
Yeah.
That's one problem with this setup, is because I have to use the microphone in the
oh, yes.
in the iPhone, so I can't
Yeah.
use the thing. But I'm gonna buy a adapter so I can use both charge
Yeah.
and use the.
There's
one at the
also
same
that
time.
thing that you can put it on and it charges. You don't have to.
Yeah. One of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
spending
you.
2 hours with me and with us. And it's really been fun. I've really enjoyed this
Yeah.
conversation. It's great to hear your great music and, you know, yeah, it's just been really, 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 really nice. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for your friendship. As I wrote in the Facebook, like I met you before I came here, because I went to the Facebook looking for the musician and say, oh, there's a Garcia here. and then I met you very soon when I came here. Very nice. Thank you.
Cool. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Right.
much. And
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that tomorrow, Roberta Donay is going to be on, who's a singer from San Francisco. Really interesting singer and songwriter. And and then Wednesday, one of the best guitar players I know, Peter Sprague,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
with a great singer, Rebecca Jade, she goes out on the road with Sheila E. a lot. And anyway, she's really wonderful too. So that's what's going to happen this week. And then later this week, we'll have Putter Smith, Scott Whitfield, and Kevin Littau. So it's going to be really
Kevin,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a great week.
All right. Have a good
So,
one.
thank you, Paulinho.
Thank you. Hope to see you around.
Me too.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.